Hello, my friends. Welcome to my channel. I am Zoe. Thank you so much for listening today. There are days when you wake up and everything feels heavy. The air seems quiet, but your mind is full of noise. You look at your phone. You see messages, responsibilities, things waiting for you. And suddenly it feels like too much. On those mornings, it is easy to believe that you are weak or that something is wrong with you. However, what if these moments are not signs of weakness, but quiet invitations to become stronger? Being mentally strong does not mean being happy all the time. It does not mean ignoring pain or pretending that everything is fine. Instead, it means learning how to stay calm even when life becomes difficult. It means understanding your emotions, not escaping from them. Strength, in fact, begins in silence, in those small, invisible moments when you choose to keep going, even when no one sees your effort. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is to simply wake up, make your bed, and take the next small step. It might not look like much, but that simple act is a declaration. I am still here. I am still trying. And that is where real power lives, not in perfection, but in persistence. Many people believe that strength is something big and dramatic. They imagine strong people as those who win every fight, climb every mountain, or smile through every storm. But true mental strength is often quiet. It grows slowly, like roots beneath the surface, unseen, but holding everything steady. If you think about it, every time you have faced something difficult and survived, you have already proven your strength. You have walked through pain, disappointment, confusion, and still managed to stand. That is strength too. You might not always notice it because you're used to surviving. But surviving is not a small thing. It is an act of courage repeated every single day. At some point, you realize that life is not about avoiding struggles. It is about learning how to move through them with grace. When something painful happens, your first instinct might be to resist, to ask, why me? But if you pause and look deeper, you will see that every challenge carries a lesson. Every setback teaches you something about patience, resilience, or acceptance. And once you understand that, pain becomes a teacher, not an enemy. Think about a time when you faced something you didn't think you could handle. Maybe it was a breakup, a loss, or a failure. At first, it probably felt impossible to move forward. But then, day by day, you began to breathe again, to function again, and eventually, you found your balance. That quiet recovery was not luck. It was strength. You built it one small decision at a time. Strength is not built in comfort. It grows in discomfort, in uncertainty, in those moments when you want to run away, but choose to stay instead. For example, when you make a mistake, it might feel easier to hide or to give up. However, when you take responsibility, when you try again, when you forgive yourself, you grow stronger. Each time you stay calm when your mind wants to panic, each time you choose patience over anger, you are building your mental muscles. In fact, mental strength is like training a muscle. It does not grow in one day. You must practice, repeat, and stay consistent. You will fall, you will fail, you will get tired, but that is part of the process. The more you train your mind to face discomfort, the easier it becomes to stay balanced. Eventually, situations that once scared you will no longer have the same power over you. Another truth is that strength begins with self-awareness. You cannot be mentally strong if you are not honest with yourself. You must learn to listen to your thoughts, to notice your emotions, to understand what triggers your stress or sadness. The more aware you become, the more power you have to choose your response instead of reacting automatically. For instance, imagine someone criticizes you unfairly. Your first reaction might be anger or defensiveness. But if you pause for a moment, breathe deeply, and remind yourself that their words do not define your worth, you shift from reaction to response. That small pause, that second of awareness, is where mental strength is born. It is easy to react. Anyone can shout, blame, or complain. But it takes strength to stay calm, to choose peace, to walk away without bitterness. And every time you do that, you prove to yourself that you are not controlled by your emotions. You control them. Sometimes, people confuse being mentally strong with being emotionally cold. But true strength is not about closing your heart. It is about keeping it open even when it hurts. It is about caring without losing yourself, about forgiving without forgetting your worth, and about staying kind even when the world feels harsh. Although it might sound simple, it takes time to build this kind of peace. There will be days when you feel like you're starting from zero. That's okay. Every step forward, no matter how small, still counts. You are not expected to be perfect. You are only expected to try. Over time, you will realize that strength is not a single act. It is a lifestyle. It's in the way you talk to yourself, in the way you face disappointment, and in the way you keep believing in your future, even when things go wrong. When life feels heavy, take a breath and remind yourself, this feeling is temporary. I can handle it. Because you can. You have before, and you will again. Eventually, you will learn that what truly matters is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it. And that response is something you can choose every single day. You will fall, you will fail, you will feel lost, but you will also rise. Every fall is an opportunity to rise higher, to rise wiser, to rise calmer. That is what being mentally strong really means. Not avoiding storms, but learning to walk through them with steady steps. You might not realize it, but one of your greatest powers is calmness. When you stay calm, you think clearly. You respond instead of reacting. You make decisions that come from wisdom, not fear. However, staying calm is not something that happens automatically. It is something you learn, something you practice, and something that grows stronger each time you choose it. Think about a time when you felt overwhelmed. Maybe you were late for something important, or someone said something that hurt you deeply. Your heart started racing, your body tensed up, and your mind became noisy. At that moment, calmness probably felt impossible. Yet, if you had paused and taken one deep breath, everything could have changed. That single breath is where control begins. It is small, almost invisible, but it reminds you that you are still in charge. In fact, this is what mental strength truly is, not controlling the world around you, but controlling the world inside you. Let me tell you a short story. There was a woman named Anna. She worked in a busy office full of deadlines and constant noise. One day, her manager yelled at her in front of everyone for a mistake that was not even hers. She felt her face get hot, her eyes fill with tears, and her anger rise like a storm. Her first instinct was to defend herself, to shout back, to make everyone see that she was not wrong. But instead, she took one slow breath, then another. She looked at her manager, nodded politely, and said, "I understand, I'll fix it." Later that day, her manager came to her office and apologized. He admitted that he had been stressed and had taken it out on her. Anna smiled and said, "It's okay, we all have bad days." What she learned that day was simple but powerful. Staying calm is not weakness, it is wisdom. You see, calmness does not mean silence. It means you choose when and how to speak. It means you wait for the right time instead of reacting out of emotion. And the more you practice this, the more peaceful your mind becomes. Of course, calmness is not easy to find, especially when life feels chaotic. However, that is exactly when it is most valuable. When you face a storm, the goal is not to fight the wind, but to learn how to bend with it. Imagine trees in a storm. The ones that survive are not the hardest, but the ones that can bend without breaking. In your own life, there will be storms too. Deadlines, misunderstandings, rejection, fear of the unknown. Yet if you learn how to bend, to stay flexible and patient, you will always find your balance again. That flexibility is resilience. Resilience means you fall, but you rise again. You feel pain, but you heal. You get tired, but you keep walking. Every time you get up after falling, you become more resilient. And over time, you will notice that what used to break you no longer has the same power. For example, think about learning a new language. At first, you make many mistakes. You feel embarrassed when people do not understand you. Sometimes you even want to quit. But each time you try again, each time you say one more sentence, you are training your resilience. The process is uncomfortable, but the growth is real. In fact, discomfort is a sign that you are expanding your limits. It shows that you are growing. Growth never feels comfortable at first. That is why so many people give up too early. They think discomfort means failure. But the truth is, discomfort means you are learning something new. Here's another story. A young man named Leo had always dreamed of starting his own small business. However, after his first few months, he lost money and felt completely defeated. Everyone told him to quit, to find something safer. But instead of running away, he decided to learn from the failure. He studied what went wrong, asked for advice, and made small changes. Slowly, things improved. 2 years later, his business became successful. One day, someone asked him, "How did you stay strong when everything seemed lost?" He smiled and said, "I didn't stay strong every day. Some days I cried. Some days I wanted to quit. But I kept moving, and that was enough." That is what resilience looks like. It is not about never falling. It is about what you do after the fall. Each time you choose to rise, even when it hurts, you grow stronger inside. Sometimes people around you might not understand your calmness or your patience. They might think you are quiet because you do not care. But calm people care deeply. They just know that reacting in anger rarely solves anything. When you stay calm, you keep your power. Of course, staying calm does not mean ignoring your emotions. It means understanding them. When you feel angry, you do not need to fight it. You can notice it, breathe, and let it pass. Emotions are like waves. They rise, they crash, and then they fade. If you can learn to ride the wave instead of drowning in it, you will find peace. In moments of fear or uncertainty, try this simple habit. Pause and name what you feel. Say to yourself, "I feel worried," or "I feel sad." By naming your feeling, you stop it from controlling you. You take a step back and become the observer instead of the victim. With practice, you will realize that most of the things that used to make you panic no longer do. Because you have learned that feelings come and go. You no longer believe that every emotion is permanent. Let me tell you another simple truth. Calmness does not remove problems from your life. It helps you face them better. You still have challenges, but you handle them differently. Instead of fighting every little thing, you learn when to let go. And the ability to let go is one of the strongest forms of wisdom. Think of your mind like a cup of water. When you stir it too much, it becomes cloudy. But if you let it sit still, the water becomes clear again. The same happens with your thoughts. When you keep reacting, worrying, or overthinking, you cannot see clearly. But when you stay still, when you let your thoughts settle, clarity returns. So next time you feel lost, instead of trying to control everything, try doing nothing for a moment. Sit quietly, breathe slowly, and trust that the answer will come. Often, wisdom whispers only when the noise fades. In the end, resilience and calmness are not gifts you are born with. They are skills you build. And the way you build them is by practicing every day, in small moments, in everyday life. When someone cuts you off in traffic, you take a breath instead of shouting. When you make a mistake, you say, "It's okay, I'm learning." When you face a challenge, you remind yourself, "I've survived worse." These small responses create powerful changes inside you. Eventually, you will notice that you no longer get upset as easily. You will realize that you can handle more than before. That is the quiet proof of your growth. And one day, someone will ask you how you became so calm. And you will smile, because you will know it was never luck. It was practice. When life challenges you, your first instinct is often to react. Someone criticizes you and you get defensive. Something goes wrong and you panic. A plan fails and you start doubting yourself. It's a natural human response. But as you grow emotionally stronger, you begin to realize that reaction is a habit and response is a choice. Every moment gives you a small pause between what happens and what you do next. That pause may be only a few seconds, but it holds incredible power. It's in that tiny space that your entire future can change. When you choose to respond instead of react, you shift from emotion to awareness, from chaos to clarity. Think about it. How many times have you said or done something in anger that you later regretted? Maybe you sent a message too quickly or said words that hurt someone. Those moments teach you how powerful reaction can be and how costly. Let me tell you about a man named Daniel. He was a teacher, kind and passionate, but also quick to lose his temper when things didn't go as planned. One day, a student mocked him during class. The old Daniel would have shouted or punished the student instantly. But this time, he paused. He took a deep breath, walked slowly to the student, and said calmly, "I can see you're upset today. Let's talk after class." Later, the student confessed that his parents had been fighting at home, and he didn't know how to deal with it. That single moment of calm transformed what could have been a confrontation into a moment of connection. Daniel realized that responding with patience doesn't just protect your peace, it also heals others. You might not be a teacher, but every day you face similar moments. Someone cuts in line, a friend disappoints you, a colleague blames you unfairly. In all these situations, you have a choice: to react out of impulse or to respond with understanding. The more you choose awareness over anger, the more control you gain over your life. And control doesn't mean controlling others, it means controlling yourself. Because true power is not about winning arguments. It's about staying centered when everything around you tries to shake your peace. Still, even when you respond wisely, not everything will go your way. Sometimes you will fail. Sometimes you will lose. Sometimes you will do your best and still fall short. That's when the second part of this lesson begins: learning how to rise after failure. Failure is one of life's greatest teachers, though it rarely feels that way at first. When you fail, you feel pain, embarrassment, disappointment. You might even feel like giving up. But if you look closer, every failure carries a message, a direction pointing you toward who you are meant to become. Remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every person you admire has failed, not once, but many times. The difference is, they didn't stop. There's a story about a woman named Claire. She dreamed of being a writer since she was young. She sent her first novel to dozens of publishers, and every one of them rejected it. The rejections hurt deeply. She cried, doubted her talent, and almost deleted her manuscript. But one evening, she looked at her notes and thought, "What if I try one more time?" She edited her story again, not to make it perfect, but to make it honest. Months later, a small publisher accepted it. The book sold slowly at first, but then people started connecting with it. Years later, she became one of the most beloved authors in her country. When people asked her what kept her going, she said, "Every rejection hurt, but each one taught me how to write better. Failure didn't stop me, it shaped me." That's what rising after failure means. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about accepting that pain is part of growth. You cry, you rest, and then you rise again. Failure can break you or build you, depending on how you see it. If you see failure as the end, you stop moving. But if you see it as a lesson, you keep growing. Think of it like climbing a mountain. You slip, you fall, sometimes you get hurt. But with every fall, you learn how to step more carefully. Each mistake brings you closer to the top. It's important to remind yourself that progress is not always visible. Some days, you feel stuck, but inside, you are learning patience, resilience, and humility. These invisible lessons are what prepare you for success. There's also something else failure teaches you: compassion. When you've been through pain, you understand others more deeply. You stop judging so quickly because you know how hard the journey can be. So, when you fall, don't rush to stand up immediately. Take a moment to breathe, to feel, to learn. Growth happens in those quiet pauses between failure and the next try. Over time, you'll realize that every challenge you faced has shaped the person you're becoming. The broken moments taught you strength. The silent nights taught you patience. The losses taught you gratitude. And maybe, just maybe, failure was never against you. It was guiding you. Of course, this mindset doesn't appear overnight. It takes time to shift from reacting to responding, from fear to faith. But every small step counts. Each time you pause before reacting, you train your mind to stay calm. Each time you rise after falling, you train your heart to stay strong. Eventually, you will look back and realize how far you've come. The things that once made you anxious no longer do. The failures that once broke you now inspire you. You've learned to trust yourself, to stay patient, to keep going even when it's hard. You've learned the art of being positive every day. Not because life is always easy, but because you have become peaceful inside. In the final part, you will gently bring everything together: calmness, resilience, and positivity, reminding the listener that every small act of awareness is an act of self-love, and that their story is still being written, one peaceful choice at a time. As you reach this point of the story, I want you to pause for a moment. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs, filling your chest, grounding you right here in this very moment. Because this quiet space between thoughts, between the noise of the world, is where your power truly lives. You see, being positive every day is not about smiling all the time. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing peace even when life is messy. It's about staying kind even when people are unkind. It's about learning to see light even when the sky looks heavy with clouds. There will be days when your heart feels tired, days when you wake up and the world seems too heavy to face. On those days, remember this: your worth is not measured by your productivity, your success, or your smile. Your worth simply exists because you do. You are here, you are trying, and that is already enough. When you start to shift your focus from what you lack to what you have, from what went wrong to what you learned, everything changes. The same life that once felt chaotic begins to feel softer, calmer, more meaningful. You begin to see beauty in ordinary things. The morning sunlight, a quiet cup of tea, a kind word from a friend, a simple act of care. That is what positivity truly means. It is not a constant excitement. It is a quiet trust, a steady belief that even when things fall apart, you can rebuild. That even in darkness, the seed of light still grows inside you. And yes, it takes practice. You will forget sometimes. You will lose your patience. You will fall back into old patterns of negativity. But each time you catch yourself, each time you pause and breathe and choose calm again, that is growth. You are learning every single day to return to your center. Think back to everything you have survived so far. Every challenge that once felt impossible, you have already faced. Every heartbreak that once shattered you, you have already healed. Every mistake that once defined you, you have already learned from. You are not who you used to be. You are wiser, softer, stronger. This is the beauty of being human. You are allowed to fall, to fail, to doubt, and to begin again. Life is not a straight line. It is a dance between holding on and letting go, between breaking down and rising again. And you are still here, still breathing, still growing. Sometimes you might think that your progress is too slow, that you are not getting anywhere. But remember, even the smallest step forward is still movement. Even one positive thought can shift the entire day. Every gentle word you tell yourself plants a seed that will bloom later. You are not behind. You are on your way. And if you ever feel lost, come back to silence. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and listen, not to the noise around you, but to the calm voice within you. That voice already knows the answers. It knows that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you are enough. You do not need to chase peace. You only need to remember it. It is already inside you. So from now on, when life challenges you, take that small pause before you react. When things fall apart, remind yourself that this too is temporary. When you feel like giving up, whisper gently, "I have made it through before. I can make it through again." Because you can. And one day, without realizing it, you will notice how strong you have become. You will notice how calm you remain in moments that once shook you. You will notice how kindness flows naturally from you, not because life got easier, but because you learned how to carry peace within. You have become the kind of person who finds beauty in imperfection, who keeps faith in uncertainty, who chooses light even when surrounded by shadows. That is the true power of positivity. It is not about what happens around you. It is about what happens inside you. So as you finish listening today, I want you to thank yourself for staying, for listening, for trying, for showing up, even on the hard days. You are doing better than you think. If this story has touched you in some way, take a moment to hold that feeling. Let it stay with you for a while. And when you are ready, share this calm with someone who needs it too. Because positivity grows when it is shared. And if you ever need a space to come back to, a place where you can breathe, reflect, and feel understood, this channel will always be here for you. You are safe here. You are seen. You are growing. Until we meet again, keep choosing kindness, keep protecting your peace, and keep believing in yourself, even on the quiet days, because you, just as you are enough. Always have been, always will.